What is up, you guys? My name is Aubrey and this is my channel, and today we're going to be talking about SBA loans. But in this video, I'm not going to be talking about COVID relief loans, which is something that I've spoken about so often on this channel. Instead, I'm going to be going more of a traditional SBA route and talk about how you can get a traditional SBA loan for you or your business. Now, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down some of my biggest tips, some ways to determine if you are somebody that could be eligible and could be approved for a loan, and I'm going to be giving you guys my tips on how to increase your chances of approval as well. So let's get started. Now, long before COVID relief was a thing, the SBA was known for really one thing, and that was funding small businesses through traditional SBA loans. Now, you guys may be asking yourself, what do I know about getting an SBA loan? And I think that that's a valid question, so let me explain. You see, whenever I was in my early 20s, I started my very first official business. I had other businesses before then, but most of them were just side hustles and weren't like a legitimate thing, a legitimate business. So my very first legit business was started in my early 20s, and I used a SBA loan in order to start that business. I took out a $330,000 SBA loan at the age of 21, and through that process, I learned an absolute ton, not only about the process of getting approved, but how to determine if getting a loan is the right decision for you, and also whether or not getting a loan is worth it at all. So in this video, what I want to do is I want to break down some of the key things to keep in mind, not only to increase your odds of approval, but to determine if an SBA loan is the right route for you and to determine if you're even somebody who would be eligible to get an SBA loan. Now, before we begin, I would like to also note that I do have a video coming out in the next couple of days that will be a full deep dive breakdown on how to get approved for an SBA loan. In that video, I'm going to be breaking down how to create a business plan, what goes into a business plan, how to create financial documents. It is going to be probably my most in-depth, probably my longest video to date, and it is one that I am currently working on. And so if you're interested in checking out that video once it goes live, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss a single video, because that one will be coming and it will be valuable. So with that, let's dig into what you need to know about SBA loans. So the very first thing that you need to take into account before you contact a bank, before you start building your business plan, the first thing that you need to decide is an SBA loan right for you? And is my business the right type of business that the SBA will accept? Now, what I mean by that is that all businesses can generate revenue, but that doesn't mean that all businesses are able to receive an SBA loan. Let me give you an example. So if you have a business that you're wanting to start, let's say, for example, a construction company, and you need to invest in heavy-duty equipment for that construction company. Well, you've created your business plan, you've created financial documents, you yourself have experience in the construction industry, and you know that this construction business will succeed because of X, Y, and Z. Well, in this scenario, the SBA could approve you for an SBA loan, and this would be a business model and a circumstance that I would say could justify an SBA loan because of the fact that you need heavy-duty equipment that can be cost-intensive, because of the fact that you are an experienced individual who knows the construction industry, because of the fact that if it's not for the SBA loan, you may not be able to get started at all. This is a circumstance that could justify applying and potentially getting accepted for an SBA loan. On the flip side though, let's say that you have a business that you want to start. This is an online retail store where you want to make custom t-shirts for people that want to buy them. And you're going to be designing, manufacturing, printing these t-shirt designs off, and then shipping them to your customers. Now, this business model, a t-shirt e-commerce store, isn't necessarily any less legitimate of a business than a construction business, but this type of business model is not one that is typically going to adhere to what the SBA is looking for in a loan applicant. Now, these are just two examples, and there are simply too many examples for me to bring up every single one in this video. But the important thing is to ask yourself, is my business like an SBA loan business? Does my business adhere to the types of businesses that the SBA would look to fund? And if it's something that is very capital intensive, it's something that requires equipment, if it's something that you have experience with, then the answer could be yes. But if the answer is no, my business is online, no, it's just a hobby, no, it's just a side hustle, no, it's just an Etsy shop, then chances are the SBA would not be interested in funding. Number two is to look at yourself. What I mean by that is, what experience do you bring to the table, and why should the SBA trust you? At the end of the day, the SBA is investing in your business, but they're also investing in you as a business owner, and they are putting their trust in you that you will pay back your loan. And one big question that I think a lot of people don't ask themselves before applying for an SBA loan is, what experience do I bring to the table? Going back from our same example that we mentioned earlier, if you were coming forward to the SBA applying for a loan under a construction company loan application, they would want you to have experience in the construction industry. They would want you to know your industry, to know your business, and to know how to succeed at that business. If you have background in construction, and if you're applying for a construction loan with the SBA, then you will have a dramatically higher chance of approval than if you were somebody who wanted to start a construction business but didn't have any experience in construction. Now, let me talk about my personal experience. So my very first business that I opened, as I mentioned earlier, with an SBA loan was a franchise in the restaurant industry. Being a 21-year-old, I knew that it was going to be very, very difficult to get approved for an SBA loan, and it proved to be very difficult. But one of the things that I did to increase my odds of getting approved was I knew that I needed to have restaurant experience, and up until that point, I didn't really have any restaurant experience. So 2 years before I opened up my franchise, I started working in the restaurant industry. I moved to Chicago, where I worked with a multi-unit franchisee for 6 months. I came home and I spent the next year and a half working with different restaurant brands to learn the ins and outs of the restaurant industry, specifically the fast casual restaurant industry. That means that once I went to apply for my SBA loan, I could tell them, hey, I have 2 years of restaurant experience. I've been diving deep into this industry. I know how to succeed, and I know what I need to do. This really helped me get approved for my SBA loan because of the fact that I had the experience to back what I was wanting to do. And the same would go for you in whatever industry you're wanting to be in. You should not be like a brand new person in a brand new industry applying for an SBA loan. You need to show experience, you need to show that you have the skills necessary, and you need to show that you know what you're doing. And because of that, you will need to have some sort of resume to prove this. If you do not have experience in whatever type of business or niche you're wanting to get into with an SBA loan, then your chances of getting approved are going to be significantly decreased. The third thing that you need to know is credit. Now, this is something that unfortunately will disqualify a lot of people out there, and that is the fact that if you are wanting to get an SBA loan, you have to have good credit. The SBA will not approve you if you have poor credit. Now, the exact credit guidelines that they look for will vary from applicant to applicant. Whenever I applied for the SBA and I was approved, I had a high 700 score. I believe it was like 760 to 780 at the time, but you will need to have a good or excellent credit score. If you have anything below that, then your chances of getting approved are going to be significantly decreased. On the same topic of credit is available liquid cash. So this is another thing that I think is oftentimes misunderstood with the SBA, and this may not be the case 100% of the time, but it is the case the majority of the time. Whenever you go to apply for an SBA loan, 99% of the time, you will not be able to get a loan without also putting money into the project as well. In fact, I've never heard of this not being the case. If you guys have ever heard of getting an SBA loan to fund 100% of the business, then let me know down in the comment section below, but I personally have never heard of this happening. You see, whenever you go to apply for an SBA loan, the SBA wants to know that you yourself have skin in the game. They're not going to fund 100% of your project, because why would they? Then at that point, you have nothing to lose. So typically what they will look for is a 20% cash infusion from you. You will have to fund 20% of the cost of whatever project you are doing. So if, for example, you need a $100,000 SBA loan, typically you will have to show that you can put forward $20,000 of that. If you have a $200,000 project, typically you'll have to show that you can put $40,000 towards that. Now, the exact percentage will depend on a number of factors, including the amount of the loan, including your credit score, including the industry the loan and the business is in. It will be dictated by a lot of different factors, but the 20% is kind of the industry standard that I have seen. If you do not have this 20%, then you most likely will not get approved for a loan. Without that 20%, the SBA probably will not approve your loan, or they won't approve the full amount of your loan. Now, again, the exact details of this will be dependent on you, your credit score, the industry that the loan will be in, and so much more. But you typically will have to have the 20%. So if you're somebody who is wanting to get an SBA loan and you don't have the 20%, then you have a few options. Number one, grow organically without an SBA loan. Number two, get get an investor to help you fund that 20%, or number 3, try to go an alternative route like through a peer-to-peer lender, a private lender, things like that. Next is the topic of collateral. Now, collateral and signing over something as collateral is something that is very common in the world of SBA loans. Basically, what this means is that you have to secure your loan with an asset. Typically, this is a house. So if you're somebody who's wanting to get a multi-six-figure loan, typically the SBA will not allow you to do that. And you will have to not only provide the 20% that I mentioned earlier, but you will also have to provide a piece of collateral as well. This is used in the case that you cannot pay your loan back. The SBA has something that they can seize to help recoup the costs. Now, again, the process of submitting something for collateral will vary from state to state, depending on your asset, depending on the loan that you have. But chances are, more often than not, you will have to submit something for collateral. Maybe once you start kind of gaining traction with your business, developing a relationship with a bank, at some point you wouldn't have to. But in the beginning, you almost without a doubt will need to provide some sort of collateral to the SBA. And the last important thing to keep in mind is the question of, do I really need an SBA loan? You guys have no idea how often I get DMs, emails, comments in the comment sections of my videos of people who are wanting to start a business, but they feel as though a loan is the thing holding them back. Most of the comments that I get are something along the lines of, I have this great business idea, but I need an SBA loan in order to start. Or I want to start my homemade baking company, but I need an SBA loan to start. Or I want to do X, Y, and Z, but I need an SBA loan to start. The fact of the matter is, more often than not, you do not need an SBA loan. If you are wanting to do like a brick and mortar business, like a franchise or a restaurant or something else, then yeah, you may need a SBA loan. But if you're doing something that's like a side hustle, or if you're doing something from home, or you're wanting to create a product, chances are you do not need an SBA loan. An SBA loan is a big commitment. Trust me, I know I've taken out an SBA loan. It is a huge commitment, and it's something that should not be taken lightly. More often than not, it is better to grow organically than it is to take out a huge loan from the SBA simply to get your business started, whenever chances are you probably didn't need that loan to begin with. So if you are somebody who feels as though an SBA loan is the key thing that's holding you back, chances are it isn't. And start looking for alternative ways to fund your venture, because there are a lot of better options out there. I see a lot of people out there who want to get an SBA loan, but they have poor credit, no cash, no assets, and no experience, and yet they still think that they can get approved for an SBA loan. And unfortunately, the harsh reality is there's no way that's going to happen. In order to get an SBA loan, you have to be organized, you have to have your ducks in a row, you have to be prepared, and hopefully this video helps shine some light on how to go about doing that. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I do have like a monster video coming up where I will be talking about all of this stuff in extremely great detail. So if you want to check that video out, stay tuned. But like always, if you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, then make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.